All right, so first day of fall and we got work to do. That's coming up next. Hello everyone, this is Dwayne with Edge of Nowhere Farm, and we're coming to you here this morning. It's the first day of fall 2018. You know what? It's almost nice out here. It's about 80 degrees out here right now. You know, we get a little humid, it's about 50% humidity, so for us, that's humid. But gonna be a warm day today. We're gonna get up to about 100 degrees, but you know what? It is fall. We could feel it. You know, you get a little bit of that almost crispness in the air in the morning, but what that means for us is it's time to start planting our fall and winter garden. So I'm going to link a video here because you're going to recognize this bed. We actually did some green mulching at the beginning of summer when we started trimming the grapevines that you see around me here. So what we did is we actually threw just the all of the vines that we cut back as we were going through and doing the netting of the grapevines. We just threw them down, covered them with plastic, let those break down. And they've done a pretty good job of breaking down. So now we just got a lot of carbon left, which is what we're going to deal with here today. So we've got all the bigger sticks, we've removed those, but really what we're dealing with now, we're dealing with soil that is still very, very dry, but as I dig down, I've got some good soil in here, so nice and brown. What we had done is we had taken some raw, I guess the best way for me to describe it is kind of brooder scraps. So we have our meat chickens that we have in a big brooder. We're going to cut to that here in a second. But what they do is we've got pine shavings in there as the layer that's underneath them, and it captures their manure and it composts down. So what we did is we actually took some uncomposted pine shavings and chicken manure and actually turned them into the soil, then put that green mulch down on top. So this had a chance to break down. It's actually turned in some pretty decent soil, a little dry, but we're gonna fix that today. So one of the big challenges here is we do have carbon. So there's a lot of carbon up here. I'm not gonna be too worried about this yet because what we need to do is we need to add some nitrogen. So instead of adding a liquid nitrogen or some other type of, I'm not gonna call it artificial source, but you know, fish emulsion or something like that, while we will add those at some point in time during the growing season, at least to start out, I wanna get a good layer of compost down. What we're gonna do, and because we have all this carbon, we need to get plenty of nitrogen down on top of that, and I'm gonna put a layer of compost down on top of here, but I wanna show you what compost we're gonna use. So let's cut to that now. Okay, so we're back over at our brooder. So we have our meat chickens in here, so they're about 2 weeks old. In fact, we're really close to having to get these guys out of here. So we got 58 birds that we're gonna be transferring into one of our smaller chicken tractors, but more on that another day. So more and most importantly, we've got our chickens in here that are putting manure on top of pine shavings, which is really where we're gonna be getting our compost from today, but I wanted to show you how that starts. So if Lori wants to slide in here a little bit. All right, so our brooder, I'll link our brooder video so you guys can take a peek at how we put this together. You can see it's easy to get into, but you can see these guys are wondering if I'm gonna be giving them food, which they already have, so they're a little confused. But if you look down here, you can see they've got a lot of manure mixed in with these pine shavings. So we got a good mixture of pine shavings, lots of manure, and there's 58 birds that are getting big. They eat a lot, which means they poop a lot. So lots and lots of manure, which is nitrogen, really, really rich nitrogen. So we take this and we actually compost that down. So I'm gonna show you that next. All right, so this is actually what we're gonna be topping our garden beds off with. So a little dry on top because I didn't water it last week, but if I dig down in here a couple inches, I get down into just some very, very rich compost. So this is actually, oh man, that smells really good. So this is actually what you just saw, but this is actually about 6 months worth of composting down. So we've been watering it, keeping it covered all summer long, actually through the spring and the summer. And at this point, man, this is just dirt. Smells amazing and nitrogen rich. It's full of that chicken manure that you just saw. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get this into a barrel, bring it over to the beds, and we're gonna show you how we finish off those beds to get them ready for planting. Okay, so I've got the vast majority of that compost that you guys just saw sitting next to me, and we're ready to put it on the bed. So really a couple things that I'm looking at here. I see what looks to me like maybe some wood chips. We've got a lot of wood chips on the ground around us here, have gotten up into the bed, so I'm gonna shoo a few of those off first. I don't want big pieces of wood in here. It takes way too long for those to break down, and you know, they're sucking up nitrogen as they're trying to break down. I don't wanna do that. We've already got a lot of carbon in this bed. Carbon's not an issue. I wanna make sure I'm getting a nitrogen balance with that carbon carbon, so and plenty of nitrogen. So I'll kind of scoot some of that out. I'm going to spread out the leaves and that kind of type of carbon that we got on top, and then we're going to put a nice thin 1 to 2 inch layer of this down on top of the bed. So that's up next. Okay, so you should have just got done watching us put this in. I'll tell you what, it went really fast. So we got probably about 1 to 2 inches of that compost that we created sitting on top of the bed. It's about flush with the top of these bricks, which is right about where we want it, because it will come down, it'll sink down as we go through the growing season this fall. So a couple notes I want to make. Number one, man, I'll tell you what. Oh, this smells so good. I don't know, that might seem weird to some of you, but there's just something about fresh compost in a garden bed, ready to be planted, that is just, I don't know, grounding, I guess would be the best way for me to describe it, but smells amazing. What's really great about this compost with those pine shavings in there, those pine shavings really soak up a lot of water, especially as they turn into compost, which is really what we need here. We need something that's going to retain a lot of water, and we can do that as a byproduct of our farming operation, which is our meat chickens. So just amazing, really looking forward to that. One other side note I want to make, you're going to see a pipe sticking up right there. We do have irrigation run to our beds. We have 7 beds back here that we're finally getting around to starting. And funny thing about that is we're not going to be here a year from now. I'm going to link our 100th episode here, where we talked a little bit about our future and where we're headed. And if you watch that video, you'll know that it's actually not here. So this is going to be somebody else's garden. And so what I'm not going to do is I don't want to just make the assumption that they're going to want to do whatever type of drip irrigation I would want to do. So I'm going to leave that there stubbed out for them. It's already connected to the water. You know, I'm hopeful that we'll be able to meet them and walk them through the yard and talk about all these things, and I can show them what we've done, and it's ready for them to go. But for us now, we finally get into some vegetable production. So Lori and I are going to spend the rest of this morning finishing another bed. We've got this one that we're going to go ahead and get planted out today. And then of course we're going to have to hand water, which is really kind of a bummer, but hey, we're going into the fall and winter, so it'll be a little bit easier on us, but I wanted to share this with you guys. Okay, so just want to thank you guys for joining us today. You know, we really enjoy doing these videos for you guys. Really excited about all the cool stuff we've got coming up as we get into the fall, we get into the winter, and we get into spring, which is really, really exciting for Lori and I. We really hope that you'll join us. And hey, if you haven't done so already, hey, subscribe to our channel. You know, we got a lot of cool stuff coming up for you. If you like this kind of homesteading, farming thing, really love to have you join us. And hey, if you have any questions or comments, hey, leave them in the comment section down below. You know, one of the things that Lori and I say it every time, but we really do enjoy interacting with you guys, answering questions, getting great suggestions. This is new for us. We would love to get great suggestions from you guys out there. I know I've got some fantastic gardeners. But I know I've got some fantastic gardeners out there that can give us some great advice. Would really love to have that as well. So just want to thank you for joining us today and remind you, if we can farm on the edge of nowhere, so can you. I think I'm going to sneeze. Thanks. A 58 of our meat chicken.
Okay, that's probably one for the blooper reels. I'll link our brooder video here, and actually maybe even the video that we had. We're gonna start over. I was mumbling. Maybe come up a little bit. A little behind the scenes footage here, getting just the right shot.